And this video, we are here to provide for you guide on 21 useful ways in overcoming gambling addiction. Many people can enjoy gambling without it becoming a problem, but over time, some people develop a gambling addiction that can ruin their lives. Some gamblers are seeking excitement or action in gambling, others are looking more for escape or numbing. Personal problems. Gambling can affect relationships, physical and mental health, work performance, and social life. Gambling addiction is harmful to psychological and physical health. People who live with this addiction may experience depression, migraine, distress, intestinal disorders, and other anxiety-related problems. Familial problems. Approximately 20% of people accessing Australian gambling support services are the family members of people with gambling addiction or problems. Common family impacts include financial hardship, impaired family relationships, diminished emotional and physical health, family conflict, mistrust, family neglect, communication breakdown, and confusion about family roles and responsibilities. There is also consistent evidence that gambling problems are associated with family violence and that they are transmitted from one generation to the next. Financial problems. Financial losses are the most immediate cost to the people who are facing gambling addiction or disorder. As access to money becomes more limited, gamblers often involve in crime in order to pay debts, appease bookies, maintain appearance, and garner more money to gamble. Fisher reported that 46% of adolescents surveyed stole from their family, 12% stole from others, 31% sold their possessions, and 39% gambled with their travel money. Here, we are discussing useful ways to overcome gambling disorder that is affecting people. Point number 1. Understand the problem. To eliminate gambling from your life, you must learn about the issue and admit you have a gambling problem. The American Psychiatric Association identifies gambling as a mental health disorder similar to addictions triggered by alcohol and drugs. Be honest with yourself when you look over the symptoms of gambling disorder, or even better, ask a loved one about their opinion of your gambling for a clearer understanding. Point number 2. Admit you have a problem. As with all addictions, one of the first steps on the road to recovery is admitting there's something wrong in the first place. The percentage of gambling addicts who seek out treatment is small, some estimates are as low as 3%, and Berlin says most addicts don't get help until very late in the cycle. When they do seek help, many call 24-hour gambling hotlines, which are answered by trained mental health professionals. Point number 3. Identify your triggers. Your clean time is precious. See any urge to gambling as a temporary menace and be prepared for them to emerge before special occasions such as birthdays, wedding anniversaries, or exam time. Point number 4. Gambling is to lose. It is important to remind yourself that in the absence of discipline you will almost certainly lose your money, regardless of your betting strategy. Your gambling urges might appear as seductive temptations when you are undergoing financial worries, especially as most forms of gambling offer the potential of immediate high reward. Reminding yourself that you can't stop once you start can help you to deal with any urges to gamble. Point number 5. Think about the consequences. Shame and guilt are strong feelings for anyone in recovery from addiction. Shame and guilt can be dangerous because too much of them can encourage people to relapse, but some levels of shame and guilt can motivate you to stay in recovery. Try not to dwell on past behavior, and only use it for motivation to avoid gambling in the future. Point number 6. Avoid boredom. Try to plan your days so that you aren't tempted to fill empty space by gambling. Research seems to back this up when findings showed that problem gamblers have a low threshold for boredom. When faced with an uninspiring task they will invariably avoid it or not complete it. Point number 7. Live your life. A desire to get even with the bookmakers or casinos will restrict your ability to focus on your recovery issues. Taking your life one day at a time also means not worrying about what tomorrow might hold for you in your life. Keep the focus on what you can do today that will help your ongoing recovery from addiction. Point number 8. Gratitude list. Staying aware of how better your life is without gambling is vital in any relapse prevention strategy. If this conforms to any spiritual practice, then all the better. When we have a grateful attitude, we are less likely to be searching for excitement. Try it, it really works. Point number 9. Do something different. Your brain got used to working in a certain way when gambling, but it still needs to be constantly stimulated now that you have stopped. So try to set yourself new goals and tasks each day. When you are focused on problem solving, you will be better able to cope with gambling urges when they come. Point number 10. Opt an old hobby. Invariably, gamblers will lose interest in hobbies as they become more and more addicted to their gambling. After you have stopped, it is important to rekindle old hobbies. This will not only boost your self-esteem but will also provide a regular reminder of your new way of life. Point number 11. Cope with stress. Stress is the barometer of how we manage our emotions and can be a major contributing factor in relapse from gambling recovery. It is vital to find new, healthy ways to cope with stress, whether that is physical exercise, meditation, hypnotherapy or talking to a trusted friend. The risks are that the temptation to gamble will become stronger and stronger as you become more stressed. Point number 12. Avoid temptation. Gambling is a temptation, but seeing gambling as an addiction is a significant step because it permits you to use skills from addiction recovery and relapse prevention. For someone in recovery, avoiding people, places, and activities linked to gambling can help them avoid a setback. Work with a loved one on your list of triggers and find ways to avoid the temptations to reduce the risk of gambling. Point number 13. Postpone gambling. As a gambler, you could have cravings to call your bookie, go to the casino, cash your paycheck or other behaviors linked to gambling. An excellent way to approach this issue is by paying attention to your cravings, what they feel like, what you think about during the craving and how long it tends to last. Once you build an understanding of the situation, you can list a set of thoughts or actions to distract from the gambling. Point number 14. Visualize your betting firm with a negative slogan. Associate your betting platform with a negative connotation and imagine a nasty image when you think of the operator's logo. This way you can seek to embed the negative bias of gambling in your subconscious. It will also help you to remember exactly how low and desperate you felt when you stopped. Point number 15. Be especially vigilant leading up to special events. Recognize the need to bolster your resolve when special events approach on the calendar. If you had been a sports gambler, for example, then special events such as football World Cups and European Championships, the Wimbledon tennis tournament, the Cheltenham Festival, Royal Ascot, or the Ryder Cup can be particularly challenging. Perhaps you need to avoid the increased hype within the media surrounding these events, especially when bookmaking firms offer special offers. Point number 16. Join a support group. Support groups are organizations maintained by people with similar experiences and pasts. Though support groups lack professional interventions, they are free to try out in person or in online chat rooms. Gamblers Anonymous is one support group specifically built around the needs of people with gambling problems. Point number 17. Find alternatives to gambling. Avoiding triggers and distracting during cravings are great ways to deal with gambling, but to improve your state, you'll need to find healthy alternatives to gambling. By replacing gambling behaviors with positive ones, you shift the focus away from the bad and towards the good. Just think of the fun, beneficial alternatives you can explore with the extra money you have from not gambling. Point number 18. Seek professional help. If your gambling is severe, consider seeking professional help as soon as possible. Professional treatment from a mental health or addiction specialist could be the difference between a life of financial uncertainty versus living in financial stability. With professional counselors and therapists widely available, the only thing holding you back is your reluctance. Point number 19. Consider medication. To correct the imbalance of dopamine, psychiatrists will often prescribe SSRIs, an antidepressant that affects the serotonin system. Other drugs that are also prescribed are lithium, often used in cases where the person also has bipolar disorder, and opiate antagonists like nalmefene, which reduces the positive feelings associated with winning. Point number 20. Implement regulatory mechanisms. Some gamblers who don't currently have a problem but worry about themselves in the future may try to put limits on how often they gamble and the amount of money they gamble with. Pathological gamblers sometimes designate a trusted advisor to control their finances so that they're literally prevented from accessing cash for gambling. Point number 21. Therapy. This could be behavior therapy or cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Behavior therapy helps an individual reduce the urge to gamble by systematically exposing them to the behavior. CBT helps change the way in which the individual feels and thinks about gambling. Don't forget to like our video and share it with your friends. Also, check out our previous videos and support us. That's all folks. Stay healthy. Stay beautiful.